Good morning, this is Jack from theartofchart.net, and this is the pre-market recording for Friday the 6th of April. Our disclaimer, we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Right, a couple of things this morning. One, the Q&A last night, we had some brilliant questions, particularly on US dollar, long-term outlook and bonds. And if you want to pick that up, you can just go to the free webinars page for April and have a look at the recording there. And that we had some very, very good questions, so that's well worth watching, I think. Second thing is, one thing I didn't mention yesterday, we are on the 3-day rule. This is a long-standing stat I have, goes back to 2007. I've never actually had one that didn't deliver, but that just means I haven't had one yet. Nothing delivers all the time. If I went back far enough, I'm sure I'd find one that didn't deliver. But I've got an awful lot of examples where this did deliver, 40, 50 maybe. And this is when you've had a decline of more than 2%, and then you break back over the 5 DMA, which is today at 26.28.95 at the close last night. Then you've got you go on the 3-day rule. First day is the break back over. Second day, obviously, we had a close significantly back over. On the third day, if we see a close back below the 5 DMA, a couple of handles below, not on it, then we're historically, this odds that we are going to see a fairly fast retest of 25.53 are very, very, very high. And that we're going to see a retest before we make significant new highs. I've got no exceptions on a lot of examples going back to the start of 2007. It's a very interesting stat. Obviously, if Trump opens his mouth today, we could well see a close back below this, and I'd expect that to follow through. All right, great. Let's have a look at the futures charts. Now, we got our back test of 26.19, got there pretty much. It held, never a doubt in my mind. It's even though Trump was tweeting quite a lot of the night and inviting trade war, really, or at least stating his willingness to fight one. So we've bounced from there. What I'd really like to see today, if we can, is a retest of yesterday's high, marginal higher high. That sets up a nice little double bottom here, and we can go down. And we're likely then to take out the previous low. I'm obviously a little concerned about the news impact this morning, but we've had a nice rally off the lows overnight. We're back at 26.38, so we're fighting our way over the weekly pivot at the moment. That's what I would like to see. It's not necessarily what we're going to see. If we see on the 3-day rule, obviously we need to see that close back below the 5 DMA today to cement the downside, and we'll see how it goes today. We are still on a 60-minute sell signal. TF is on 1-2, although I can't show that signal, but they're both on hourly sell signals, and NQ probably won't generate one today, and the reason for that is we've set up a falling channel here, and to set up to generate a 60-minute sell signal, we'd actually have to break it, really. And my working assumption is this isn't going to break, and we've got resistance. That resistance is now at the weekly pivot, and that may be very strong resistance. If this does hold, this sets up the next leg down and gives us a target for where that's likely to go, which would be channel support, currently in the 61.85 area. TF wasn't that much affected overnight, partially because it was closed for quite a lot of the period when the markets were falling. Really looking for a retest this high. I'd quite like to see a test of this megaphone resistance trend line, currently in the 15.58 area. Because if we see a test and reversal there, then that sets us up very nicely to head back down into megaphone support, which would currently be in the 1460 area. That sets up the next move down very nicely, and RUT often delivers the best patterns and trend lines. So I'm watching that carefully. CL, we have also set up a rising channel overnight, and we broke it. Now, this doesn't mean we're necessarily going to head straight down, but it lost us the support of this nice channel support. So what I would like to see today is a test of the monthly pivot, and of course we've now got the resistance trend line crossing the monthly pivot. I would like to see a test of this trend line and a reversal, and that would take us down to the 61.5 area where we already have targets. I'd like to see that today, and I'm thinking we do an AM high of some kind, and that may be the high of the day because of course we have a cycle trend day today. And that's a pretty good fit if we are going to see it, and nothing is guaranteed in this life, of course, but it's a pretty good fit if we're going to see it. If it hits this trend line here, hits that trend line on TF, retest the highs on ES, and then a hard fail. That's what I would like to see today. Right, NG. NG, wondering about a possible triangle forming here. If that was the case, it would probably break up. We've got obviously very clear resistance here, decent resistance in the 2.735 area, and on a break above, that would open the upside. So that is stands lean, and I think that's looking very possible here. Okay, HG, I was talking about this channel last night that has held overnight. We were pretty close to channel resistance. We've come back below the monthly pivot. The obvious read here is if DX is going higher, then this is a bear flag. We're going to break, and on a break below this flag channel support trend line here, then we're going to retest this low. I think that is the obvious read here, and I think DX has at least some more upside. I'll be looking at that when I get to the DX chart. GC, if that is the case, then I'm thinking A, B, C here, and that would get us down to this trend line here, currently at about 13.15/16 area. It's been whipping about this morning. It's not quite sure where to go. I like this scenario, and if DX is going to go higher at all, then it's probably going to deliver. ZB. ZB, we've got a 60-minute buy signal has fixed. And we've still got a head and shoulders. That's still got a target in the 144.07 area, but as I've been mentioning, we do have likely unfinished business above at ZB, so I would not be at all surprised to see a retest of this high. And if we were to see that, then that would set up a likely double top, and it would hit my TNX support trend line, which should really be hit here. So I would not be surprised to see this deliver. Obviously testing the monthly pivot at the moment. If we get back over the monthly pivot and the weekly pivot, then that retest is open. And that would, one, establish a very decent topping pattern if it got up here and then reversed there, and it would finish off the unfinished business, without which I'm not really seeing a big decline on ZB starting. Could be wrong, but normally that would be head. DX, I've obviously got channel resistance up here. That's in the 91.2 area. Stan's got this. This is a very nice flag, but that doesn't mean that this isn't Stan's triangle. And Stan's triangle, I think, would depend on it staying under about 90.5. We've stayed under it so far. I'd have a possible wedge resistance trend line that looks nice, that would involve basically a move up to about 90.4. That might tick all our boxes today in terms of HG and GC. We'll see. We've got 120. We're still on 120 minute sell signal. That might be threatened if we go up to these targets here. And I would note that short-term channel resistance and bigger picture channel resistance will be crossing on Monday in about the 91.2 area. Maybe that's going to be the target. We'll see today. If we can't break over 90.5, then Stan's triangle is alive and well. So we shall see how that performs today. USD. I've got a nice looking little falling wedge here now. It's not perfect. The support trend line needs a bit of work maybe. But it's nice. It's got a beautiful three-touch resistance trend line, and if this breaks up, that may well be the end of this decline on USD, and it may mark the reversal on both USD and DX. Watching this with interest, was testing this when I capped this, testing resistance on it when I capped this chart. GBP USD, I am still obviously wondering about a move down to this possible rising channel support currently in the 1.3935 area. We shall see. We've got a potential double bottom here. We do not have a buy signal live here because this was a higher low, so I'm a little skeptical about it not going a bit lower. We shall see. USD JPY, probably going to see that a bit higher. I am wondering whether we are at the top of a rising wedge here, and if DX is about to reverse, we're probably going to find that USD JPY will reverse as well. We've got no current negative divergence. We'd probably see a retest this high. A possible 60-minute sell signal will start brewing when that happened. What I would note here is that we've got a perfectly nice, valid double bottom here, and we are breaking up slightly from it. This is obviously a potential Janus flag setup. If we break up, then we got targets up in the 109.25 to 110 area. If we were to break down, and really that would be a breakdown through this rising support trend line currently in the 106.25 area, then we would very likely see a retest of this low, because that's where the Janus Bear flag target would be. So we shall see. USD CAD. USD CAD has broken down from a head and shoulders, and it's been, despite the fact we've had our buy signal fixed, it's been respecting the neckline and appears to be heading down. I'm not seeing any current reason at the moment to think this isn't going to go and make the head and shoulder target in the 1.251 area. Australian dollar. Australian dollar, I think this is a flag forming. We've now got a beautiful support trend line here. We might be heading back to flag resistance, which tentatively is in about the 77.35 area at the moment. We'll see how that goes. But I think this is a likely flag forming. And I think this hit of the trend line this morning confirms that. It could break down directly and head to a retest of the low, which is not much lower, but we'll see. NZUSD. NZUSD is testing main support at monthly pivot, weekly pivot. Obviously, this is an important test. It could reverse back up. If it breaks down, we may well see a retest of this low. We'll see how that goes. KC has broken up slightly through wedge resistance yesterday. It is a slightly mushy trend line, but it's a decent trend line, so I think I'm expecting that to follow through. We're still on a 6-minute buy signal. Really, KC and SB have really been in a deep sleep all week, so it may be that we're not going to see anything particularly interesting happening. But I like KC and SB to the upside, and this is a promising sign. It needs to get back over weekly pivot. SB may need yet another retest of the low. We're on a 6-minute buy signal, but it would improve this potential double bottom setup here. This could equally be a triangle forming, in which case we'd be heading up to the 12.5 area next. Keeping an open mind. We're on a 6-minute buy signal. Overall, I like the upside. ZW. ZW has formed a very nice inverted head and shoulder, and it's broken up from it slightly. This gives us basically two courses from here. Either we break up, we continue up towards the IHS target in the 486/7 area, or we fail here, and we head back to a retest of this low at 440, I think. The buy signal on the daily chart is favoring the long option. So I think on balance, I'm expecting this to go up. Obviously, resistance at the monthly pivot. CC. CC, I think the head and shoulders is forming here. We've got a full 60-minute buy signal. Looks like it's got some more life in it. We have a pretty much a perfect touch of this possible head and shoulder neckline that I'd put in. The ideal right shoulder high would be at a back test of the weekly pivot. I really like this head and shoulders, and I've got daily sell signals here, so I'm expecting to see some more rally, probably a nice short from the weekly pivot down into, I don't know, 25 area, I think. This is a nice looking setup. That takes us pretty much back to the 61.8% fib retracement. Okay, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. I will stop the record.